Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dumb Dumb Idiot podcast,
episode number 2. Deuce. Dude, I can't believe we made it. I can't believe we didn't get canceled.
The haters didn't believe in it, but we're here. We did it.
We're somehow we have haters. I don't know.
Yeah, so everybody has haters, you know.
Even Dumb Dumb Idiots who have 17 subscribers, which we appreciate every single one of you guys.
Everyone that watched the first episode, that's watching this episode, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Everybody that's retweeted, everybody that's shared it, just all of you guys. It's been so awesome.
Yeah, just after this, we'll probably be having some guests on. If anyone's interested, let us know if you got an interesting story, something you really want to talk about.
Heck yeah.
Hit us up.
Dude, I'm excited. This is a journey, you know? Yeah. Every episode is a different journey. It may be rough at first, but we're getting there, you know?
Yeah. Well, and, you know, I mean, to be fair, the second of anything is usually terrible.
So, dude, I don't think of a single... Terminator 2 might be the only sequel that's better than the original.
I've never seen Godfather 2, but people hype that one up. But
okay, well, we talked last episode about shit that I haven't seen.
Oh yeah,
I've never seen
Godfather.
1, 2, 3, 4, 7. I don't know how many there are.
I think there's 3, and I've always heard the third one is absolute shit. But they say the second one's like the best sequel ever made. But I still haven't watched it. But
yeah, there's a very small short list of sequels better than the original.
Yeah, I remember getting hyped as fuck for Anchorman 2, and
all I remember from that when he goes blind, and that's basically all I remember.
The only one I liked about it, I'm getting off, but like when he said chicken of the cave, and they were talking about eating bats. And like, well, that didn't age great, but
yeah,
because that movie came out before COVID happened,
right? Well, at least now they're saying that it may have been a lab leak. So you know what?
Right. Who's to say?
But there is also some pretty big news this week with some I think he's about 80-year-old man. I didn't want to address it, but I guess I have to. He's in trouble with the law. An 81-year-old man in San Diego is in trouble for slingshotting at people's houses.
Oh shit!
Yeah, just randomly. Doop, doop, doop.
He was slingshotting people's houses, like going full on Bart Simpson with it.
Full blown Bart Simpson. Like this shit is wild. Like. This dude is 81 years old, and he's got the most childish hobby imaginable. Slingshotting at people's houses. What the fuck?
The investigation took 10 years to find out.
That it was a 10-year manhunt to find the man who's been slingshotting people's houses. Which, like, yeah, I mean, I get it. A lot of you people listening, especially the women, you all like your manhunt stories. Y'all be listening to those serial killer podcasts.
Ooh, those are great.
And I appreciate the women out there who are taking a break from their serial killer podcast to listen to two dumb dumb idiots.
Right, thank you. We'll talk about murder.
Yes, we talk about murder and death, and this is the type of things you want to hear from dumb dumb idiots. You know, like we'll touch on the serious topics, and you know, it's funny. Women be like. You know, they'd be like, men and their sports, you know, like, oh, yeah, all they want their fantasy football. Ask any woman who their favorite serial killer is, and they all have one.
Everyone has one.
You don't have a favorite serial killer. I don't have a favorite serial killer.
No, I can name a couple, but I don't have like one that I'm like, oh, that one's fucking awesome.
Jeffrey Dahmer Halloween.
I did dress up as Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween.
That is great.
And I mean, you have to understand at the time,
it was still not appropriate, and people
I still got hateful comments for doing it, but it was okay. It was okay because I did look like him.
He looked like him. That's the thing. If you're going to dress up like a serial killer, make sure you look like him.
Right. It was especially fun because my good friend Trevor Law, who happens to be a black guy, was hanging out with me like the whole night, and like he was just rolling with the.
And for those who don't know, Jeffrey Dahmer preyed on black men.
Typically African American.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so I would just like kind of give him some like some eyes, and he'd be like, "Bro, you can't be doing that." but it was like, dude, I'm in character right
You're
now.
staying in
It's
character.
Halloween. It's okay.
Fluffy Wuffy.
Oh, little Fluff.
Look, she had to be in.
I know.
She has to be in every episode.
Fluffy is the star of the Dumb Dumb Idiots podcast.
Yeah, she is. She always will be too. Yeah. So Jeffrey Dahmer, obviously he was a killer, murderer, and unfortunately we got a report on a pretty sad death that happened this week. 2 deaths that happened this week, really. The Pac-12 football conference died. It was a football conference in the Pacific West, and their biggest fan,
The great
Bill Walton.
Yes.
And it's sadly fitting that they both, like the final Pac-12 game ended the same weekend he died. Like it ended probably the day before he died. And it's a weird coincidence because like if there's one thing this man loved more than anything, in my opinion, we don't really know. We don't know.
Right.
But was Pac-12. He called it the Conference of Champions.
Yeah.
And like he was always like you couldn't tune into a game without hearing him say the Conference of Champions.
Yeah.
And
Bill was so fun just because like he sounded like he was high every every game that he would be commentating on, and like just he was
one of a kind.
Yeah.
He was talking about weed on air, talking about mushrooms. He was a big deadhead, like Jerry Garcia. He just loved what's that band's name?
Grateful Dead.
The Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
And
total hippie.
Total hippie. Like you just imagine like the stoner uncle, and that's who he was.
Yeah.
But he was probably the happiest man ever, and probably one of the most unique people, especially in sports. In the industry that doesn't have many unique commentators. If you tune into a Pac-12 basketball game at 2:30 or
right.
10:30 in the morning,
it's
you were going to see Bill Walton rambling about weed, about spirituality.
It was always,
about all of that.
It was always fun because he'd be like, I can't believe nobody's cutting him off. He's just like talking. He's not talking about the game anymore. He's just going on about like.
It almost makes it feel like you're the only one watching. Like there's no way this is real.
Yeah.
And like that was his thing. And he had this his co-commenter was what was his name? Dave Pash. Yes. And like Dave Pash would always play like the straight man. He would always play like I'm the businessman, and like Bill Walton would just go off the cuff and just say like the craziest, weirdest hippie shit. And like if Charles Barkley was a hippie, that's who Bill Walton would be.
It's the best commentators for sure. Charles Barkley and Bill Walton.
Yes. You almost forget that they were like phenomenal players because of how great of broadcasters they were.
Yeah, like had an unbelievable second act.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like accidentally wore tie-dye today, just thinking about old Bill.
Hell yeah,
great.
Dude. Yeah, this is kind of fitting that like both of them ended at the same time. Like the Pac-12 died and he died. And it's like both sad because like, I don't know, if you love college sports, you enjoyed watching the Pac-12, and it's sad that died. And you definitely loved watching Bill Walton.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And I guess with some like happier sports news, if you watch baseball, that Angel Hernandez, he's a umpire, and he was notorious for being terrible. And if you know an umpire's name, that's a problem.
Yeah, they're bad. Yeah, like if they're good, I'm not gonna know.
You're not gonna know their name. Yeah, like this guy calls a strike, and a ball. Like that's this guy. This is a ball could be like the strike zone's right here, and the ball right here, and somehow he'll call that a strike. Like doesn't make any sense. It's wild.
Dude, you know what? I just want to talk about that's going on this week is in Sandusky right now. It is a madhouse. You got Bike Week going on. You got the anime convention going on. You've got Pride going on. Cedar Point. It's like this huge, insane, different cast of characters in Sandusky right now.
It's a clusterfuck of different personalities, all conjugated to the same spot.
You see colored hair walking around, and you're like, are they going to the anime convention? Or are they here for Pride? You see a big burly man, and you're like, is that a biker or is that a Bellevue Bear? You know, or is he just some Midwest dad taking his family to Cedar Point? Like, what is going on here right now?
And when we say Bellevue Bear, we mean the opposite of a Sandusky twink.
Right. They're totally opposite.
Total opposites.
But opposites attract.
They attract like magnets, you know?
Right.
And if you don't know what a Sandusky twink is, well, you've obviously never worked at Cedar Point, because I worked at Cedar Point, and there's plenty of Sandusky twinks there.
You knew them personally.
No, not like that. Not like that. No. I mean, not that.
No, I just mean you knew their names.
I knew their names, and they would buy me drinks at the bar when I was 19 years old.
Dude, I can't even hate on that.
You can't hate on that, dude.
I would I'm gonna go to a gay bar just to get the feeling valued.
Right.
I want someone to buy me a drink.
No, it's fun until they start catcalling you, and you're like, oh, this is what women deal with.
Yeah, now I feel objectified, and I don't like this.
Yeah, not good. It is rough.
Especially when it's unwanted, you know.
And I think that covers all the major news this week. I don't think any other major news happened this week. So I think we're going to go on our deep dive. Every week we're going to deep dive into a subject that we think is important and that is relevant to today. And this topic may have happened 20 years ago, but I think it's pretty relevant to today. And we're going to talk about the life and death of Pat Tillman. And Pat Tillman was he was born in Fremont.
Oh, wow.
Fremont, California.
Ah, damn. Of course, the first Google search.
Yeah, the Fremont. There's a Fremont, Indiana, probably a Fremont, Texas.
Every time I drive to Chicago, I'll have my wife or my kids with me. And I always, when we pass Fremont, Indiana, I'll be like, oh, I drove all this way and we're in Indiana.
Are we in the right Fremont?
We're in Fremont now. What?
Right.
Good old, gotta go. The go-to dad jokes.
It really is. I feel like when I was a kid, this is not even relevant to other Fremont. But we would leave home, go to Cedar Point, come back, and my dad would be like, are we sure we're in the right Fremont? It was a reoccurring dad joke that just happened every single year. And it was
when you become a dad, it's it unlocks this love that you didn't know you had for your children, and this love you didn't know you had for terrible jokes that you just have to repeat every single time the situation comes up. Hey, I'm hungry. Nice to meet you, hungry. I'm dad.
Exactly.
It's a tick. I don't even mean to do it.
I don't mean to do it either. It's a problem. It's a problem.
It's terrible. We need therapy, but it was cheaper to do a podcast. So.
Yeah, exactly. Podcast is basically the men's version of OnlyFans. Women do OnlyFans and that's their hobby. Men start podcasts.
Subscribe to my podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll show my boobs if it'll help the podcast,
Exactly.
We'll keep it in the bag.
We got one topic in, and we already diverted from Pat Tillman to OnlyFans. We're on a roll right now, guys. Buckle up. Keep in.
Let's ride.
It gets worse from here. Trust me, guys. Trust me. So...
For sure. So yeah, Pat Tillman.
Man. Yeah, so Pat Tillman, he was a pretty good football player. Yeah. He ended up going to the University of Arizona State. He was the last scholarship player they had. He was a pretty phenomenal player for them. I think he won Defensive Player of the Year in the Pac-12. He ended up getting drafted in the 7th round by Arizona, so he stayed in the state of Arizona, and he was drafted in the 7th round. So like, I feel like if you make the team as a 7th rounder,
Yeah, 7th round picks, you're not even expected to be on the team,
let alone get talked about on the Dumb Dumb Idiot podcast.
Right,
you know, like you're just kind of a blurb in the radar. You know what I mean? But this guy, he made a name for himself in football first and foremost. So like, he is a pretty fundamentally sound football player. He played safety. He registered like 150 tackles his first season, and he was just a beast. Like, he was a good football player. I don't want to overhype him if we're talking about him, but he was good. He was solid.
Yeah.
I don't know how good he'd do in the modern football, because he was like a safety that played more run defense, and now like it's way expanded. But that's getting into football nerd talk. And like, we could talk that all day. Maybe in a future episode we will. But we want to talk more about Pat Tillman, like what you guys know him as. And that's as the guy who fought in war. And that occurred after 9/11 happened. And we all know where we were during 9/11.
Yeah.
And that shit rocked us.
Yeah.
Like, it was
I remember being at school, and like they rolled in the TVs, and it was like, it was a big moment for everybody. And it's crazy that like sparked him to want to join the military.
But yeah, it's definitely a culture shock for everybody. I think we're all scared for like months, you know, maybe even a couple of years. It was just wild. And like, that's when he decided like he needs that call to defend his nation. And not out of like a patriotism, I guess, but like, it ran in his family. Like, his dad fought or his grandfather, I believe, fought in World War II. And it was just like it was in his blood to defend this country. And he ended up getting sent to Iraq in Operation Iraqi Freedom. And while in Iraq, he kind of started seeing like things weren't really going the way like you would think. Like, he wrote down in his journal that this war, and this is his quote, "This war is fucking illegal." That's what he said about the war he was fighting in Iraq. Like, he was thinking he was going to get sent to like fight the terrorists.
Right.
And the terrorists were like from Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, operated a little bit in Afghanistan, but mainly Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. It's a whole fucking mess. Like,
I remember as a kid, like, because I mean, I didn't know shit. Even then, I was like, I don't understand how first it was we're attacking Bin Laden, Taliban, Afghanistan, and then we're just like, oh no, now we're gonna get Saddam Hussein.
It was all the same region. I guess they'd be like attacking Florida because Texas fucked with you. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
They're all south.
And when you think, like, I don't know enough about Middle East because I'm stupid, but like how culturally different Florida and Texas are.
Like, Texas and Florida are both like southern states
in the United States,
but they're both culturally like pretty different.
Right.
Like,
and like as Americans, we know that like they're so different. A Texas man and a Florida man, you hear those are different headlines right there.
Now the thing about Florida man apparently is you hear about Florida man so often because apparently the press has way more freedom in Florida. Like if someone gets arrested, they can report that shit right away.
Really?
Whereas in other states, there's more checks and balances. So you don't hear about Ohio man.
About like the crazy people.
Yeah, apparently Florida, you can just like, if you see a topic, you can report that shit right away. And so yeah, Florida people are crazy, but
like we're all crazy. Crazy people. Crazy people are everywhere.
Exactly.
I mean, we talked about crackheads and people that were banging picnic tables here locally that we know about, but the whole world doesn't know about that necessarily.
Yeah, yes.
But everybody knows about Florida man. Like you can look up Florida man for everything. That man, I didn't even know that, and that makes sense as to why we have all those Florida man references.
Of Florida man references. Yeah, exactly.
Because no matter where you're at, there's crazy homeless people
everywhere, dude. Everywhere.
How freeing to be homeless and just
I was actually thinking this week, like it would be kind of like, what if you just did like a life swap with a homeless person for like a day? Like a one, like okay, I have no responsibility. I can just smoke my crack and have my fun.
Yeah, that's what like my parents used to like laugh at me saying this, but I would be like, I just one day, like if you could guarantee my safety, I one day just want to like spend a day homeless because there's no like expectations and like not that I would want to do this, but like you could jerk off in a Denny's and nobody would like it would be like, oh, that poor guy. We got
you just get to spend the night in jail. It's
right, like
anyways.
You got somewhere to stay.
Exactly. But back to Pat Tillman, because somehow again we went from Pat Tillman to jerking off in Denny's. We are not on track right now. But this is why you listen to Dumb Dumb Idiots. You don't listen to Dumb Dumb Idiots to stay on track.
Right. We're gonna branch.
Exactly. So he was in Iraq. He did not like being in Iraq, but he still fulfilled his mission in Iraq. He ended up getting sent to Afghanistan, and that's when like all the shit went down that like you and me know about. But like most people when they hear Pat Tillman, it's synonymous with what happened there. And what happened there, according to the media and the military, was that he died this heroic death. He like saved his platoon from an ambush.
They made it sound like he like dove in front of the bullets, like, I got you guys, and like that's not what happened.
They even attributed some like fake quotes. They're like I can't remember the exact quotes, but it's something heroic, like get behind me,
right?
Like something like hoorah, and but like that's what people know him as, and like it was this big propaganda, like pro-military. Look at this man; he gave up a fortune to fight in this war. This justified war on terrorism,
right? Like this,
a war on an ideology,
right? Like we are fighting for freedom. This amazing athlete gave up all this money to join the military and die for his country. Like that was very, and like I mean, credit to him that like he truly was a hero, but the way that they kind of spun it for their own gain is just a little messed up.
It's the military-industrial complex at its best, which is really at its worst, because all that propaganda and all of that, basically, if you control the media and you control the narrative, you control history. And they were trying to control history. Fortunately, we have some journalists and investigators out there who were able to uncover the truth. And the truth was, from what they could uncover, was he was actually killed in a friendly fire.
Right.
And that's sad. I can't even imagine like if this was an accident, being the man that killed Pat Tillman.
Yeah.
That's gotta live with that guy forever. And he did not know. Like it's just what happened, like what went wrong. And if it was a friendly fire. Like
and I just like I find it so shocking that he could die from friendly fire, because in the olden times, like if you had people you wanted to keep safe, like war generals and like the people playing the flute, like somehow they managed to do that, but we couldn't keep a professional athlete that was serving his country safe. It just seems so wild to me.
That is wild. Like we're gonna attack another sovereign nation. And I feel like if you want to attack someone, you want to be stealthy. I don't know if that's like a modern invention. Like we're gonna go in there and sneak in. No, we're gonna come in with the fucking best damn band in the land,
flutes ablazing.
Maybe do a Script Ohio while we're marching.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
sick.
You got someone die in the eye, and do a whole song and dance. So now it's we're about to attack your ass. That's a bold choice.
Yeah.
And it is funny that those guys lived every time almost.
Yeah, like countries would just agree to that. Like, hey, I know we're doing war here, and we're all going to kill each other, but let's keep the people in charge and like the music. Let's keep the music going.
I wonder like if after like the bloodshed and everything, let's say one side loses, they just like, okay, You're with us now.
Yeah.
You play that flute
Yeah,
so
like,
fucking
oh my
good.
god, I love your band. That's what like the best military at that time probably had the kick-ass
Oh
band.
hell yeah, yeah. You gotta imagine. Like that's what they did. Like you knew from like miles away that they're coming. Like
oh no, that is the best music I've ever heard. We are gonna die.
not only that, but we're actually gonna leave our bunkers and like check out this show. Like this shit is banging.
Like I'm gonna dance.
Right.
I'm dying, but I'm gonna dance.
Right,
you know?
right. I can dance if I want to.
We could leave them behind.
Because if they don't dance and they don't dance, then they're no.
Yeah. War is there is no safety dances in war.
No, there aren't. There are no safety dances in war. Again, we went from Pat Tillman to safety dance.
Oh yeah.
This is just how we talk. I am sorry. There's no way around this. This is how Dumb Dumb Idiots talk.
This is how Dumb Dumb Idiots communicate.
So yeah.
So he got killed by his own
people, and there's actually like investigations, or not investigations. There's actually like theories that this could have been murder, like not an accidental, like a planned thing, because like he was so outspoken against the wars, and like you can't have your NFL superstar ish turned military combatant being against the war. He is like probably the most famous person to serve in the military since like Elvis Presley when he was doing it.
Oh yeah, you know, they used to hate Elvis, and then he started like shaking his dick at the enemy, and they're like, okay,
yeah, we like those dick dances now. Those dick dances don't offend us anymore. This man went to war. He didn't do anything at war, but he was there.
Right, he showed up. Well, that's what like. Why couldn't they just have Pat just like chill there? But I mean, I think he wanted to be in the action and everything. So, I just like, I can't imagine if you just sent like random athletes and entertainers to war now.
Right.
Like,
like, and would it like help reform their image? So let's say like hypothetically, Mike Vick in like 2000 and when was it? Like 2007.
When the dog stuff happened.
Instead of sending him to prison, if you send him to war, I mean, this is, you know,
all of a sudden he's an American hero.
He's an American hero. He reformed his image.
Hey, I know he killed dogs, but
he also killed Iraqis, so we like it.
He killed the dog of our enemy. Like, yeah, America. Like, okay.
Fuck
like,
yeah, dude. Oh,
dude.
That gets me pumped. Say that again.
He killed dogs, sure, but he killed the dog of our enemy for America.
Bro,
like,
that does not give you a freedom boner. Nothing will.
I'm at full mass.
I am not at half staff right now. I'm at full staff right now. Dude.
I even think like Jake and Logan Paul. Like I'm impressed that like they keep this like notoriety about them, but like most people hate them.
Yeah.
I feel like if they went to war and just like started punching some people would be like, okay, they're not bad. Like you can't hate a freedom puncher.
Yeah, you can't hate a red-blooded American who's fighting the enemy combatants. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And you could have entertainers, you could have music that like goes out and
you seen like Rihanna goes to war?
Dude, that would be unbelievable.
Dude,
like
exactly.
You're like shine bright like a diamond.
Right. I was thinking like there's like
motherfuckers.
Fucking crossfire. He's like, you know what I need? I need my umbrella. Ella.
Oh my god, yeah.
Dude,
like,
yes.
Like I mean, like other countries could bring like their best pop star. So like yeah, it might not be very good.
Right.
But
some Russian acapella. That sounds terrible.
I don't know what their music sounds like, but
where's Creed come from? Is Creed, are they Canadian? I don't know. Probably not Canadian.
Oh, I don't know. I know Nickelback's Canadian, aren't they?
Nickelback is like they want to be Creed. I wish they were Creed.
Yeah, everyone wishes they were Creed.
Yeah, like they're Creed, but the hate is actually like,
can you take me to war?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude! Reminds me of that.
Can you stab your enemy in the first. Oh, can you kill them softly?
It reminds me of that halftime show they did for the Dallas Cowboys. And they got some motherfucker flying like an eagle.
Oh, and you full on like,
God,
oh my God.
damn.
Yes.
Imagine that. Like you're like fighting a war. This dude just paraglides out.
You see that guy coming? You're like, we lost. Whatever war we're in right now, we surrender.
Yeah, dude, the enemy combatants, they're like, okay, we don't have this, first of all. Like in our
we don't know what creed is.
Yes, in our country, this isn't a thing, and we love it.
Dude, in like some other country, I mean, Creed's already the greatest band probably in the United States. But could you imagine Creed in another country? They're like, wow, this is the most unbelievable music I've ever heard.
Yeah, dude, that's
that's
actually what would cause world peace. I mean, you think about it, like at no point in my life am I like, yeah, war is never gonna end. Right. And I'm like, well, if we actually sent Creed to the battlefield and they just played like, you know, Higher and My Sacrifice.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, dude, I love My Sacrifice. It's probably my favorite Creed song. That's a banger. But back to Pat Tillman again, guys.
Pat Tillman.
So, he died, and
he got killed by his own people. Like, what and why? Why did that happen?
They made like a martyr out of him. You know, like, and it's just really disgusting to me. Is like, yes, he did a heroic thing.
He's a heroic figure, but like to prop him up in a way that, like, look how great the military is kind of distasteful, because just him as a human was
one of a kind.
Yeah,
like that's the thing.
Like we said about, like, I mean, I can't imagine an athlete giving up, I mean, literally millions of dollars, at worst hundreds of thousands of dollars, and just being like, I'm gonna go to the military.
Apparently he turned down a contract worth over $3 million from the Arizona Cardinals in that same offseason where he decided to enlist in the military.
Dude, at that time, like with inflation, that's probably like $6 billion today.
It may not billion, but probably $6 million.
I know, I'm being a little dramatic.
It's like a Dr. Evil. $100
billion yen.
Yes, it could be. I don't know other currencies. Rupees?
No, yeah, I don't know. I don't know any other. I don't even understand.
I don't
crypto.
like how British has pounds, because like my brain gets confused. Like if you ever read like,
yeah, what if you wanted to buy a pound of drugs?
Yes,
with pounds of money. How confusing would that be?
Well, they have kilograms.
Oh yeah, that's right. The metric system, idiots.
Duh.
They're a bunch of dumb idiots using the metric system.
Yeah, I know. I hate when my system is divisible perfectly. I'd rather measure everything by football fields.
Exactly. Football fields and freedom is what I measure by.
A system that's divisible by 10 is just way too stupid. Yes. I need 12 inches equals a foot. I need all this stupid shit.
Right.
How many, like a mile is what, 2,000 something feet? Like it makes zero sense.
Whatever it is, it's like I gotta Google it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do the metric system.
Right. Yeah. That's just too simple.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Too European for that. The little American mind can't comprehend European math.
No, I don't want it. I want to measure things in cheeseburgers.
But yeah, so he gave up all that money, all that potential money, and this is how he got fucked over. And like even his mom testified in front of Congress and said that this is a disgrace to the family, it's a disgrace to Pat Tillman, and she said that the primary motive was to deceive the country. Good old propaganda, which they misrepresented like what they said he was, and he was actually like an atheist. And they like at his own funeral, they're like, he was a God-fearing man. He's up there with God now. He didn't believe any of that, and he was like well read in it. He read like the Bible, the Quran, the Book of Mormon. He knew all of this, and he just Yeah, it's like just a bastardization of who he was.
Yeah, he's such a multifaceted individual that like they kind of just reduced to. And I mean, it's very amazing that he was willing to go into the military in his circumstance. But yeah, it's like they kind of misrepresented who he was as an individual.
Definitely. His own brother at the funeral was like, he was an atheist. He did not believe in God. He is not in heaven right now. If he was here today, he would not want you guys talking about him as a God-fearing man. Like, that's just not who he was. And like, I feel like if I died today and like they're like, oh, he's in heaven now, like, I'd rather than be like, well, he doesn't know where he's at right now. We don't know where he's at.
If you die, I'm gonna play the Magic Johnson clip from last episode where, you know, because that was a very insightful that you said he has a Magic Johnson because he managed to survive with HIV all those years.
That was probably my most philosophical quote I've had to date.
I just like I want to put it on your tombstone.
A great philosopher once said, Magic Johnson has a Magic Johnson. Thank you. This gets me every time.
Oh, I get in my feelings.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get all emotional on the podcast, but just thinking about you dying makes me think about Magic Johnsons, and it makes me really sad.
Right. But yeah, so they really thought, like, so a lot of people, including the family, thinks that Pat Tillman was murdered. And like the reasoning is because there's like a lot of weird cover-ups, a lot of weird mystique and mystery in this. And like the initial report said he was like fired on from like 50 yards away, but he was actually fired on from like maybe 8 to 5 yards away, which that's a gigantic difference.
Yeah, like, because if you're that close, you should definitely notice, like, oh shit, that's the NFL player.
That's the man with the great chin. Top 5 chins of all time.
Dude, like I can only think of like him and like Jay Leno as like the best chins I've ever seen. Like those are
Robert Pattinson had a good chin.
Oh yeah.
I think if you have Pat in your name,
you're automatically gonna have a nice chin.
Yes.
That's what like Pat Tillman. I mean, he was the Crimson Chin before the Crimson Chin.
Crimson Chin.
Because Fairly Odd Parents wasn't around yet.
Right.
They probably inspired it off of him. He did have a Crimson Chin.
It could be. And that shit was 20 years ago. Isn't that crazy? 20 years ago.
Insane.
Time flying by. But yeah, so there's just a lot of weird shit in the investigations. The AP had a Freedom of Information Act that like exposed a lot of documents that just like weird. Like I said, like, the medical shit. The doctors said that it seemed like murder. Like, the injuries were consistent with murder.
Well, and I mean, if you're the family, you would definitely be skeptical because, like, it started out saying you were being fired on by the enemy, and he's like saving people and shit, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, actually, we shot him accidentally.
Yeah, when you start with a lie, it's hard to trust you from there,
right?
You know,
right?
And yeah, I think that wraps up our talk on Pat Tillman. I hope you learned something. I don't know.
He's an absolute hero and
fascinating.
He is a fascinating individual, and like, yeah, just with it being Memorial Day this week, it was like, yeah, like thinking about Pat Tillman, very interesting.
Right, exactly. I feel like people remember Pat Tillman for being this like hero, this martyr, this like, and which he was. But I still feel like you can't tell the story of Pat Tillman without telling the true, actual story.
Right, about who he is and like
what the government used his image to become.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is interesting.
I think that's a life lesson. You know, you have to be skeptical, and you have to like try to think, like, use your full
do your own research.
Exactly. And even if that research comes from Wikipedia.
Right. Wikipedia can be a useful resource. I mean, I most of the time when I check Wikipedia, it's like people fix the bad edits, I think. So I feel like it's a pretty safe.
I think so too. Even if I had a Wikipedia page one day that said I was some millionaire that I made and it stayed up for like 2 weeks straight.
Right, because no one would bother to correct
Nobody bothered to correct it.
Damn, I kind of want to make a Wikipedia page now.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I
for
did
the Dumb Dumb Idiot podcast. We're the greatest podcast that ever lived.
Yeah, you got the Dumb Dumb Idiots, Joe Rogan, Kill Tony.
Dude, if someone could make us a Wikipedia page, please. That would be
Oh, dude,
amazing.
You know when you really made it as a podcast is when someone makes a subreddit for you.
Dude, I love Reddit and like just reading. I don't ever post in there, but I love reading people's I love reading people's comments about podcasts.
I love Reddit comments. I love reading comments in general, and I almost feel like it gives me like a good idea of what the public thinks.
Oh yeah, that's what like for this podcast, if everybody could just put in the comments kind of what you want to hear us talk about. If anyone wants to be on as a guest and just talk about whatever's interesting to you, if you got a crazy life story, you've had a crazy life, if you have a small business you want to promote, if you got 3 arms or something crazy like that, we would love to have you on. It'd be awesome.
And Blue Chew, I'm looking at you.
Blue Chew.
I want you to sponsor our podcast.
Please,
I see you sponsoring everybody. I can sell dick pills. I don't use them.
Easy. I'd be like, yeah, Magic Johnson. You know what really gives you a Magic Johnson? Blue Chew.
Oh, hell yeah.
Massive boner. Like, yeah.
Yes.
So if anyone wants to sponsor,
this is a free ad, Blue Chew, but this is a free trial ad.
Right.
This is
just so you know, this is a good like starting point.
I can lie and be like, I use Blue Chew all the time.
Dude, I'll do it right now.
I'll talk about like Pat Tillman and be like, yo, Pat Tillman had a great chin. And I hear like chewing gum gives you like a good chin. But I don't chew gum. I chew Blue Chew.
Right. That's right. Look right at the camera.
Fluffy like Blue Chew too.
Fluffy gets the massive red rocket from Blue Chew.
She does, yes.
It can work like that, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you to judge?
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I think that's the episode, guys.
Yeah, we're not tortillas, but I think that's a wrap. So
fuck yeah, dude.
I think that's it.
Hell yeah.
So
peace.
Please like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you guys next time. We'll have some guests and
every like and subscribe you guys do is another treat for Fluffy. So if you want Fluffy to get some treats.
Fluffy wants to get fed, don't you?
Yes. Yeah. So feed dogs, support the podcast, guys.
That's right. Love you all. Goodbye. Smooch, smooch.
Love ya.